Welcome to the Autonomy Project, a year-long experiment comparing education models. Every week you'll get a peek into our flow-demand lifestyle, a recap of our week in public school, and then you can watch us learn about business by building one together. This week's video diary is about grief. No matter where you are in this journey, you will continue to encounter grief. I don't think we name this enough. I think we hide it in different approaches. I think we hide it in softer words. I think we have a hard time holding both respect for our neurodivergent children, both inner and outer, and the fact that in accepting a new alternative lifestyle and ourselves as a whole identity, we need to grieve the expectations we had that we cannot meet if we are to be our whole selves. This could look like what you thought being a mother would be. This could look like what happened between you and a guy you thought was going to be an amazing father when your difficult child was born. This could be your expectations of how supportive school was towards children with learning differences. And right now, whether or not you have a child or serve children with difficult behaviors, as a country, we are all grieving what we thought America was. No matter what side of the aisle you are on. The McDonald's burger that is our country's culture looked a lot better in the ad growing up than it did when you got here to be an adult participating in society. So this is a really hard time to have faith in an alternative lifestyle that could make you an exile. And it's not the time to fill yourself with a whole bunch of lies and positive smoke. We don't have energy for that right now. We have to be there for our kids and for ourselves, and we have to help heal society from the band-aid of reality being ripped off. So I want you, no matter who you are and where you are in your journey that brought you here to this experiment, to understand that if you're watching this, you probably have some grieving to do, and it will not end, maybe ever. And that's okay, because every time you grieve something, you go a little deeper, right? Once you face 2 or 3 terrifying things without dying, it gets easier. But it doesn't go away. So, my example from this week, before we move on to the school diaries, is I don't know what it is. I always forget. Right? I feel like a month ago I wanted to start school in little baby drips because I knew that I'd have to remember what it was like to be in this school state. And sort of every time I re-enter a pattern, I notice I've grown a little and I'm shaped a little differently. And in the best of cases, I have fresh new ways to look at this problem and manage it. And in the not that best of cases, I recognize it as something I need to walk away from because it's making me ill. So I'm recognizing that in myself right now. The first days when we tried to log into live lessons, I was back in a place where I was trying to get my son interested in them, and I know he's not. I know he's especially that first day. And I wasn't pushing it. I didn't sort of fully go back into that headspace where I was like, making him sort of feeling anxiety. But inside my head, as I watched all the other children talking about their summers, I was hurt. I was grieving. I'm still grieving. I was grieving the fact that, like, no matter what you or I think about the quality of public school, he still doesn't get the communal experience of being seen in his virtual classroom and speaking about his summer. Now, I could go off in a spiral about why he doesn't get that chance, but he doesn't get the chance, and it's never gonna not hurt. And so hopefully I can use that to help him feel better. And I sat with that, and I sat with, right now where I'm at is resentfulness. I don't want to do this. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to make him feel this way. Before we'll get, at the end of this podcast, we get to the segment where we talk about the Collins School setup, but we were feeling creative and happy and light vibrationally, and it feels like being sucked down into a level of hell. And it's a bittersweet realization, because I'm watching, it's not fair. I'm watching, these kids and teachers are great, and he's got this wall. He can't participate. He can't like them. He can't sit and take enjoyment and be seen and have these milestones. And for whatever reason, he can't. He just can't. He can't. It's not for him. And so that hurts. And it hurts to, I was in a really, this week is just about freeze mode and about grief and about giving myself room to process these feelings again. It never gets easier, right? It never gets easier to sit with the fact that, your child doesn't get a seat at the table the way the other children get, and neither do you, to sit with the fact that you will, I basically say raising a kiddo like ours is kind of like the toddler phase. It's okay. It's okay to grieve that. It's okay to feel that. You can still love and be proud of your child and want a whole new world, and grieve the fact that he can't be one of those little cuties having their back to school ritual. That's okay. Both things can be true. And so whatever kind of world you create for your family system, there's not going to be room for anything new until you grieve it. It's going to be all the things you're not thinking about are going to keep coming up. And you're going to keep moving towards some sort of solution instead of doing the work. And the work is accepting reality right now. And the harmony and the flow in your house will not get any better until you accept reality. Accept reality right now. What if it never gets better? What if there's no growing out of it? What if? What if? What's the worst that could happen? If you're that worried about the worst that could happen, prepare for it. Do a little thought experiment. What if? Prepare for it. Right now, I'm doing this because I don't want to sit in that discomfort. I took my what if and said, well, let's see. I think I can do better. What if I can? Let's see, right? We're doing the experiment. What if? Move into it, spend some time with it, and grieve it. If you're finding you're spending too much time when you're depressed, get some help. Go talk to someone. or go join an online peer thing, or, grieve it. Grieve it, grieve it, grieve it, grieve it, grieve it. That's my diary. I'm talking to myself. This is my diary entry for this first week back in school. Yeah. Summer should have been longer. Yeah. I didn't have as much fun as I was going to. And yeah, I didn't get to prep the way I wanted to. And this year sucks. Can't get past all these past due lessons and move on till we grieve it. So in the next section, we'll talk about the details of the first week, and you'll see one of the little tricks I have to help my son move past that stuck point when he really doesn't want to engage with lessons that he's overwhelmed with. So let's take a look. It's the end of week 1. We're so overwhelmed, and I don't want to do any of it. My son hates the material this year, and after the first day, it went right into new material. There wasn't like a review the way there normally is. I can't get webmail to work, and I don't want to call. I don't want to make phone calls to meet new case managers. Here's the other thing. This might be, a little too out there for people. Like, I don't know why I don't want to call this woman as case manager. Now, every other year they've sent me a text message, maybe followed up with a call and an email. I've never had just phone calls from a person whose email isn't listed on his page. I'm not sure why, and I'm really, it's giving me bad vibes. And I know that, like, I'm thrust into this year happening so quickly. I'm not ready to meet somebody I know I'm going to hate and he's going to hate, and we're going to have to psychically, like, defend against. We're already defending against the program hitting the ground full speed. So I'm trying to just give myself space and, realize nobody's gonna send me to not returning phone calls fast enough jail. I hate the way I feel right now, though. I'm sort of like ruminating on why didn't I just do a homeschool application? Why am I doing this other year? I'm in freeze mode because I don't want to have to do this every day. And, the busy work is significant this year. There's not only has all the changes that he didn't like returned this year, just a lot of busy work, a lot of like regimented, can't outschool it kind of work, but it's, kind of intensified. It's really tedious. So it's only the first week of school. Yay. So I do have one entry in the diary. Let's take a look. So week 1, 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We ended the week really stuck. Just going at lessons a regular way wasn't working. So, I grieved the expectation that this year would be different in any way. And I implemented a protocol that we've been doing throughout. I have to go through each lesson first, screen it for which type of questions and how many questions we have. And then what I do is make a list so my son can see what tasks he has in the to-do list. And then he can choose what he has the spoons for in the moment. So
Let's take a look at what that looks like. The simple to-do list can be a game changer for kids who get frustrated by not knowing the full scope of a task. So what got us moving this week was breaking the lessons we had left into small, clear steps that provided more clarity and sense of control over the time spent on each lesson. That got us going.
Okay, team, let's talk about our next big project.
So, in preparation for our year, I put together some research and did the back end of planning a brand we could work on together. It has a nice mix of what I already know and what we can learn together or he can teach me about. Here's a little look at what I turned up. These are our colors and some of our branding work. We'll be focusing I used to own a pretty popular takoyaki restaurant, so we're bringing back this Japanese street food. We also decided to jump on the viral Japanese Sando craze. Let's take a look at our week 1 diary. So the research turned up that the best way to proceed would be to have the bread be the main focus of what makes our brand unique. So we started out learning everything we could about making Japanese milk bread. We bought a bread machine with a dough cycle. We had some gym class, and while we were at Fairmount Park running around this piece of modern art, we talked about mutant forces a little bit. We made a batch of takoyaki, which we haven't done in a while. This was a pancake version because we were just testing out our new cast iron. We also incorporated some science when we talked about seasoning the pan and why we season the pan. And it was successful. We made our first batch and not a single pancake was wasted, not even the first one. So that was week 1 in our activities for the Sando Syndicate. And we had fun. Now let's compare these 2 weeks head to head and see how they measure up. Now, comparing the 2 schools. So just to recap, our categories are collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. And finally, an enjoyment rating. The blue line is the Collins Institute. They've got their only 2 there in collaboration. The rest of the categories are weak score to 4. In the red, we have his public charter school, and we didn't have a lot of enjoyment or activity or any sort of collaboration this week. There's a bit of creativity, and we'll discuss why we got to those scores. Let's start with the Collins Institute. Let's review the reports. Critical thinking was where I figured this approach would really shine. We're using disciplines in a Gestalt contextual manner across different subjects, and indeed we scored a 4 in that category. While we were working, we talked about why the cast iron needs to be seasoned. We talked about how the gluten works when we made our first roux. Very PDA manner, I told Adam to research the bread on TikTok, and he told me to fuck off, and that it wasn't interesting, he wasn't going to do it. And of course, after I made the first bread, he then displayed that he did do it,